This is Charlie reporting for BBC School Report. Recently, the Labour Party have promised that if they are elected, they will lower university fees from £9,000 a year down to £6,000. We have spoken to some politicians and a teacher to ask for their opinion on whether or not this is a good idea. Here's Katie and Joe for some more information on the story.
Hello, I'm Joe.
And I'm Katie.
And we have interviewed Emily Brothers, the Labour candidate for Sutton and Sheen, to ask her about her views on university fees. The Liberal Democrats have stated that it would be better to focus on the deficit rather than lowering university fees. Do you agree with this?
No, although I do agree that tackling the deficit is important. Longer term debt is more of a concern. If we don't tackle tuition fees, then the country will be adding £281 billion to the national debt by 2030, and we need to tackle it. So Labour is committed to balancing the books on an annual basis within the next Parliament, but we're also very much focused on reducing the overall debt. And the way to do that is investing in young people and not being in a position where students take forward long-term debts in the region of, on an average, of £44,000.
The Green Party have planned to abolish university fees completely if they come into power. Why do Labour still feel it's important to keep them?
It isn't a question that we think it's important to keep them, but we are very clear that any spending commitments we make will need to be costed. And the Green Party have just come up with a whole load of different issues and not costed them appropriately. Labour is very clear that we will pay for the reduction through restrictions on pension tax relief for the most wealthy pensioners in this country. So we have a way of paying for it.
And do you believe that lowering university fees will solve the problem of young people from poorer backgrounds not being able to go to university?
No, not entirely. As well as reducing tuition fees, Labour has committed to increase the grant for lower and middle income families. So we will add £400 a year to each student's grant. There are other things that we need to tackle in terms of the life chances of young people, particularly those from working class backgrounds.
Next we interviewed Paul Burstow, the Lib Dem MP for Sutton and Sheen, to ask him about his opinion on the matter. So recently your party has stated that they're against Labour's policy to lower university fees, although before the last election Nick Clegg did promise that he would lower university fees. So what's changed?
So two things. One, what we said we would like to do is two things. One, to abolish tuition fees during the life of the Parliament, and secondly, make the system fairer. We didn't win a majority, so we weren't able to introduce that policy as we would see fit, because there were others who didn't agree with us. So we went for the second of the two options, which was to make the system fairer. The reason we object to the Labour Party's proposal is that it is less fair than the system that it will replace. Because what will happen is that children and young people from better off families will see a reduction in the debt that they will have to repay during their working lives from their student tuition fees. If you are from a less well-off family and you go into an occupation that is less well paid throughout the rest of your working life, you will see no benefit from Labour's change, because you will have a debt which will fall below the level that will actually see any change in the way in which the repayments work. So what I'd rather focus on is, will there be enough money in our higher education system to provide good quality education?
And do you think that the Liberal Democrats would ever try to lower the university fees in future?
I mean, I don't think you can ever say you would never consider doing it, but the truth of the matter is, for the next 3, 4, 5 years, we still have a very fragile economy. We have a substantial deficit still to deal with, and a large number of calls on the money that will be available over the next few years.
Finally, we interviewed Miss Elliott, career advisor at Cheam High School, to ask her opinion.
Do you think that Labour's promise to lower university fees would have a significant impact on those who would be attending university?
I think not really. I think that university fees are now well established. Students expect that they're going to have to pay. it's par for the course, really. So I don't think it will have an effect. As long as universities are providing quality courses, good teaching, and students feel that they're getting their money's worth, then I don't think much is going to change or affect it.
Back to Charlie and the students.
Thank you, Katie and Joe. So, Labour say that lowering university fees would be beneficial to students and the economy. However, the Liberal Democrats disagree and think it's wiser to focus on other things like the deficit. This information may be important to bear in mind when it comes to voting. This has been Charlie for BBC School Report.